Hey, what is good, everybody, and happy Saturday. Welcome. I'm your host, Vick3, and welcome to another episode of the Big Ticket. This week, we are enjoying ourselves with another, victorious week. The Eagles are 5-0. So, we're going up against Dallas. It's a rivalry week. Yes, I said rival week because there is no other opponent that we hate more than Dallas. So, usually on this show on the Big Ticket, I usually have, the opponent's perspective, but I don't want to say my hatred, but my vitriol for Dallas is so strong that I couldn't even handle it. I couldn't, bring myself to bring a Dallas content creator on. So I thought I'd bring out one of the best in the Eagles, the best doing it today for the Eagles content creators. I got my guy Jimmy Smith on. Listen, let's bring my guy on. You know his show, you love it. On the road to victory with Jimmy Smith. But without further ado, let's bring my guy on. What's good, Jimmy?
Yo, my man Vic. What's good, brother?
Nothing much, man. Let me just start off by saying I appreciate you taking out the time to come on. We were trying to work something out for a little bit, but I finally got you on. So thank you so much for coming up.
Dude, I cannot thank you enough for having me on. And look, I always say it in my shows, like, if you guys think I am not responding to you, reach out. You reached out again, and I saw it instantly, and I was like, oh, dude. Oh, hell yeah. So glad we were able to put this together. And, dude, I don't blame you for not wanting to talk to those Cowboys fans. It is pure pandemonium out there right now. Just a lot of craziness. And, dude, it's Dallas week. So I cannot thank you enough for bringing me on because I'm ready for this damn game. Ready to go, man. So thank you again. And thank you to everybody who's tuning in. I really am ready to get into this, my man.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, listen, I love it. One of the things I love the most is I love your energy that you bring. And let me just start off by saying, man, I'm glad to see that you're doing well because last time when we first spoke, you weren't doing so well. You were in the hospital. So, I'm glad that you're feeling better.
I'm a fighter, my man. And that's actually how On the Road to Victory came about. I was on my deathbed, almost passed away. Was in there for a month till they figured out, F the Cowboys, you're damn right. That's that kind of energy that got me out of that bed because I was like, you know what? I'm not giving up. So what I did in that time was I focused on something I loved, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. And at the time, we were not good, but bleed green, win, lose, or tie. It's until I die. So I'm on my deathbed. My girlfriend's like, hey, why don't you start doing your own thing? You're getting pissed off reading these articles, people talking about this guy's in a gang, this guy can't. Oh, I couldn't take it anymore. So created my own, and it, dude, that first year we go on, win the Super Bowl, and it was like, okay, I feel like this is destiny. So I still have health issues. I have cirrhosis of the liver, all kinds of great stuff going on with my health, but I lived, and that's what matters. But I still every now and again run into some things, and with COVID going on with cirrhosis of the liver, that could kill me. So I ended up there. You reached out, and I cannot thank you enough for doing that, my man. Really, that meant the world to me. Going through those kind of things, it's tough. And I have PTSD from those hospitals. I don't like going there. So when I make a post, you guys reach out and talk to me. That means the world. The Eagles, I know it could feel like on Sundays are going to kill us. But I'm telling you, they rose me from the damn dead, dude. I'm standing here today because of my birds. And I love them with all of my heart and soul.
Definitely. That's one thing that we are, what I'm saying? We're a deep, passionate fan base, but we're family, when it all comes down, Bird gang to the day we die.
That's right.
But like I said, man, I'm glad you're doing well. And let me just shout out the people that came through, people in the chat. We got my guy BLSG out there, my guy Nightings. We got my guy Franchise, a.k.a. Manny, a.k.a. Manny 2 times, a.k.a. Garnier Fruitise Young Boy. He's out here. My guy Nest Out West, what's good? And Stephen Joyce, appreciate you all for coming through. But my guy, let's get down to it. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let me get your feelings. What are your thoughts on this unprecedented 5-0 start so far by our Eagles?
I love every second of it. Just really excited about the future of this team. You and I were talking pregame, and I told you, planting seeds last year, just really, doing my best to try to get people on board what was coming this year. I talked about, not only Jalen Hurts development, but the amount of cap space, the draft picks that we had. Now, it all depended on how he was going to use that. But what he showed me in last year's draft was this guy means business. He is learning from his mistakes. We could all sit here and talk about Justin Jefferson. We could talk about, DK Metcalf all we want. But I'm somebody who wants to look toward the future, and that is what he did. Devontae Smith. Now, Rager didn't pan out. You get rid of him. Trade for A.J. Brown this year. You don't even chance drafted one. You go get a stud. And, one of the things I did was breaking down in the offseason how you could trade for a big-name receiver, how you could add all these free agents, whereas the media wanted to push the narrative that the Eagles had to trade for a quarterback. That was how we made the Super Bowl. We didn't need all the hundreds of pieces, it felt like on defense, so to me, it was like, this is ridiculous. So I sought out I'm going to change the game. I'm going to get people on board. We're going to convince the media that Jalen Hurts can develop. We're going to show that this multiple scheme defense can work. Jonathan Gannon is a smart-minded man, and you just have to have the right personnel, and these guys have to be tackling and actually doing what they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. So, that was something I sought out to do this offseason last year while we're going through the growing pains. So this offseason, I'm like, all right, dude, this team better come out. And dude, I know this sounds crazy. Well, it did a while ago, but I said, I think this could be a 15-win team. I know that sounds preposterous, but I'm telling you, the things I saw last year, if you add the right veteran and the right rookie to a certain position, okay, now I see, man, there's not much better. So as a whole now, trying to make this as short as again, we got all those pieces on defense that I felt we needed. The nose tackle, a real Sam linebacker, the two interior linebackers in Dean and White. I thought, Edwards progression, all those things were going to happen. We had good pieces in place, the best offensive line in the game. Still got Cox and Hargrave. You got BG coming back. I mean, there was so much to this team already, and it was, well, what's Howie going to do? So Howie did it. Howie did his part. Holy hell. It was just now, how soon is it going to be until, Jalen Hurts shows us what he's learned in the offseason? We all knew, last year was his first year as starter, his second year in the league. This is his third year. Okay, now people want to see it's Super Bowl or bust pretty much for this kid. And it's like, okay, so I was just hoping, okay, the first 6 games before the bye, I want to see this team win at least 5 games. So we already have that there. I thought, the Vikings definitely were going to give us a challenge. I cannot believe how much we shut Justin Jefferson down. They really, to me, it's surprising. And I wanted to give you all that backstory so you're not just thinking I'm saying like, oh, this is crazy. I thought this team was going to suck. I literally said last year, I think we're building, and I know this is crazy, but a dynasty. Now, I don't think, every year we're going to win the next 6 years like the Patriots. I'm just saying, I think we are going to be a contender for the next 5-10 years with the pieces we're putting here, because you've got young guys learning from great veterans who will replace them. Then you draft more. I mean, we've got a good system the last couple of years. So I'm excited. Now, going 5-0 and the way we did, shutting Justin Jefferson down, now 4-0, I was more like, holy shit. Now, that last game, I liked it. Was I enjoyable? The fact that on Tuesday, I woke up and my heart still hurt because I was that, like, I can't take those games anymore, especially with my health, man. And as an Eagles fan, we're going to have to. I mean, that's just the way it is. 36 years of pure pain, but they keep you on the edge of your seat. Now, one thing I got from that game was, and they better be, you get to learn things from that, but you win, dude. Mm-hmm. So when you have those issues, but you still are able to win, that's great, man. So you have your toughest opponent coming up this week, tomorrow, and you got to learn a lot about yourself last week. Okay, I think they're 7th in pass rush win percentage going into that game, so they were going to come at us. We knew that. We had some struggles with the blitz, and it wasn't necessarily just Jalen Hurts struggling. The offensive line blocking, the running backs, tight ends in certain situations, receivers helping Jalen Hurts out, the play calling, certain thing, all of that goes into that. I know you know that, but I'm just saying, there was a lot of vitriol for Jalen Hurts can't pick up the blitz, blah, blah, blah. So this past week, they throw the house at him, and, he was great. I think he had 112.6 passer rating against the blitz, not just against the blitz. So they know what's going on. The Eagles know each week that they see these issues too, so they're going to fix them. And I think last week they showed that. And I think, tomorrow, obviously you're going to get a lot of the same thing, but it's not necessarily blitzing. A lot of people think, they got a 4-man rush that's better than almost anybody. And they will throw, we talk about the Eagles multiple scheme defense. Dan Quinn, he will throw everything under the sun at you. Micah Parsons will be all over the place, but predominantly you're seeing cover 3 from these guys. And, a zone defense, but they play, man, they do so many different things, just like the Eagles, where it's each week, how can you match up? So we got a tough test ahead, but last week was great for me. Going 5-0 while being able to learn from a couple of the games, the Lions game, taking the foot off the gas, that Jaguars game, dealing with adversity. So there are already things that are building. This is how you build a Super Bowl contender, going through adversity early in the season and then building a champion by the second half. Well, we're undefeated right now. If we can beat the Cowboys, go 6-0, go into a bye, we're already fully healthy. As Knight just said right there, we are completely healthy. Hopefully we stay healthy in this game, get an extra week off, dude, they're going to be excited through that, and they're going to build on that. And I love what Sirianni's doing. So I think that this team, I'm sticking to my guns. I think a Super Bowl contender this year and a dynasty is being built. I feel confident in my prediction. So that's how I feel about it, my man.
Listen, I think this team is coming together. And one of the things that I love the most is we're still not where we need to be yet. We're still coming together. Between the coaches, the players, everyone's still evolving. We still aren't our finished product.
That's
Well,
right.
let me ask you a question. You mentioned last week in the game against the Cardinals. What did you think about the Eagles' performance? That was a close game. If it wasn't for that missed kick, we wouldn't be 5-0. So what did you think of last week's performance?
Holy hell. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was like, you mother. So go into it. And I thought play calling on offense. I know a lot of what I saw from the media was, the defensive play calling. For me, it was the offensive play calling. And look, they were going to blitz. So you've got to do screens a lot. I don't know that I'd necessarily run the same exact effing screen over and over and over again while getting away from the run. That was key for me. Getting away from the run. Why are you doing that? You have the number one rushing attack. Our linemen love being able to just pound it down people's throat. We play with that up tempo, tire out those defensive linemen. That's how this team succeeds, and that's what they better do this week. Didn't do that in Arizona. So I think a learning lesson is what Arizona was. I'm glad it happened. In the moment, pissed off as hell. Now, Jonathan Gannon was getting a lot of slack. Oh, he's playing off too far. I don't think people understand a lot of the time the concept of what he's trying to do. That's a Vic Fangio style defense. People, I want Vic Fangio. It's like, well, this is literally what Jonathan Gannon's doing. Bend, don't break. A lot of times I know pisses people off in certain situations, but if players do their jobs and they wrap people up and they stop them short on third down, instead of letting them get that first down, continuing the drives and letting them go up tempo, then these things don't happen. So I can't blame Jonathan Gannon for things that I was pissed off about week one against the Lions, the missed tackles, things like that. So still seeing mistakes, but I love what you just said there, Vic. And that is something I've been trying to get across to people is expect growing pains this first 6 weeks. Luckily, we get a bye week and then we'll figure out whatever from that. Dude, we've got a lot to learn still, but we're 5-0. And, I'm hoping 6-0 when we go into that bye, but it's like, dude, this was literally nothing but great lessons so far this, season. And I think this is nothing but something to build on. And you're going to get an athletic defense like the Cardinals, but it's much, much better. So your toughest test is here. I'm really excited about this matchup. But I thought the Cardinals, man, a learning lesson. That's what I took from it. And Steichen, Sirianni, they all better figure out better ways to, okay, let's establish that run so we don't have to just go to the same screen to protect Hurts. Let's get some tight ends back here. Let's get a running back that can protect him, help him back here. So pre-snap adjustments, things like that. I think a blessing in disguise is what I got from it, man.
Yeah, like I said, everyone's still coming into their own. Like I said, especially with the coaching staff. You have talking about Shane Steichen. This is his first year as play caller for us now. You have Jonathan Gannon. Now, like we said before, he has the talent in hand. Now he has to implement his defense. And we've seen first 2 weeks, it was a little rough. But week 3, week 4, week 5, you saw things progressively get better. So I think everyone still is coming along. But speaking still about last week against the Cardinals, what were some things you saw from the Eagles that would concern you going up against Dallas this week?
Running those same screens and getting away from that run, man. I really, and you said it, they're still learning. And that is key and something I've just stressed. And last year it was crazy. People fire, Sirianni and Steichen and Gary, everybody sucks. And it's just like, oh my God. Like these are very bright minds that were brought in here for a reason. Let's give them a chance because we don't have a great team right now. And, this year it's like, okay, now we have the pieces, but with us, we're not the Lions. We didn't go out there full pads smashing each other this offseason, and people can feel however they want. Look, I'm old school, dude. The way I played, you were getting your ass kicked every summer. I loved it. It toughens you up for the season, but these guys are also making millions. They want to stay healthy for an 18-week season and hopefully weeks longer. So I get that. But what you also get is these guys aren't seeing live action a lot, and it's just going to affect their gameplay. So once these guys step in here and really start learning. So you talk about, Gannon last year, trying to implement odd fronts and doing all those things, but just didn't have the right pieces. So we go and get him those. The offense, Sirianni was struggling. So he hands the reins over to Steichen to start play calling last year. And we start running the ball. It was like, okay, so what they're showing me is that when they do make mistakes, they're learning and they're growing. So people want to live in the moment and F this guy, he's done. It's like, let me see how he comes back from this. We're not even giving these guys a chance to fail and then make anything from it. So, if you don't try to learn from your mistakes, you're going to fail at anything in life. And I think, Sirianni is a great motivator. So he's showing videos. He's bringing people in. I think, last week they saw that weren't all on the same page. The defense wasn't clicking, and I get it. Avonte Maddox being out is huge. Glad to have him back. I know the offensive line was banged up. Those things can matter, but it's about the mentality, next man up. So those things are going to happen, man. You all have to be ready. So I think if they get it, I don't think they're going to do it, but if they were to get away from the run and just continue to be pass happy against this team, dude, they're just, it's going to be bad. They're going to send everybody. And again, I mentioned it. They don't have to send more than 4, really. They have one of the best 4-man attacks. And, you're going to see it lined up all different ways, shapes, and forms, dude. They've got crazy. I mean, if you saw any of my videos this offseason about the multiple schemes the Eagles run, it would be even crazier for Dan Quinn. This dude, I hate the Cowboys, don't get me wrong, but Dan Quinn is really great what he's doing right now, and he's got the right talent, there in Dallas to show off how much of a great defensive mind he is. And, dude, they're the real deal. Arizona, not so much. So I love the question, man. So don't get away from the run, and maybe some more slants, some running back different screens, man, some mesh concepts, something different that, to counter those blitzes, or just the 4-man rush that's going to get in the backfield regardless. So learn from last week, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, and like you said, Dan Quinn is one of the best. A lot of people, they talk about his, head coaching skills, but you can't deny that he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. You saw what he did in Seattle. You seen he tried for the most part to try to change that defense around in Atlanta. And, he did a fairly good job. Atlanta, for the most part, their defense is what held that team for years. Sure. But then now moving over to Dallas, and what he did with Micah Parsons, it's insane. And we know they can wreak havoc. They can go crazy. And that's something, like you said, we can't get away from the run. But for Dallas on the offensive side, it seems as though that there's been an injury. Looks like CeeDee Lamb, there's a possibility he may be out for the game. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about CeeDee Lamb and the possibility of him not playing?
Well, from what I'm hearing, he looks like he will be good to go. But what that tells me is that he's got a hip bothering him. So that right there, that's huge. That's obviously their number one target here. But that if you take him away, man, they're already missing. I know we're going to talk about him, maybe Dak, but CeeDee Lamb, that dude, he's a pretty damn good wide receiver. And I know a lot of people wanted him and felt a certain way. I love the kid. Hey, don't ruin it for us. We're gonna rewind here. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, let's go.
He got me happy.
But CeeDee Lamb for me, that would be monstrous because Michael Gallup just came back. Noah Brown has been looking good, but if you get rid of him, dude, what you're gonna throw Simi Fehoko in there? Maybe Kevontae Turpin gets some reps, but that's a huge loss. So if anything were to flare up tomorrow before the game, and he's out. Holy hell. What they're saying is it's just they kept him out of practice to keep it safe, but I don't care. Either way, it's like there's a possibility he doesn't play. Mm-hmm. So, my God, if they lose him, they don't stand a chance, really. This guy, he's the real deal. That's somebody that Cooper Rush is able to, depend on. And, well, not every time. But I think that'd be the most massive loss they could probably deal with right now would be CeeDee Lamb. Well, other than Micah Parsons. But, CeeDee Lamb on offense.
Yeah, it doesn't look well when you miss a Friday practice. It's always you always want to make that Friday practice, exactly. Whether it's limited or not. You want to make a showing, and exactly. The fact that he's held out, it doesn't bode well for Dallas. But speaking on their injury front, you mentioned Dak Prescott. He's also been ruled out for this game, so it's another week for Cooper Rush. What do you think of him as the starter?
I think Cooper Rush. Look, he's a game manager right now, and. Not to say that he sucks or anything. Just he's clearly not Dak Prescott. So the Eagles really get a plus here. Now, I wanted Dak Prescott to be playing because, dude, I want to beat people at their full strength. I don't want any excuses. I don't want to hear anything about that. But, they were trying to pull the old sneaky deek, putting the questionable tag on Dak Prescott. Is he going to play? Is he not going to? It's like, shut up, dude. So trying to get cute, but it's like Cooper Rush here, man. I think they're going to try to run the ball, just like we need to be doing. They're going to try to attack us in the run game. And they've got 2 backs now. Ezekiel Elliott is nowhere where he used to be. But Tony Pollard, with him being as good as he is, that's a great combo. You keep them both fresh, and it keeps Ezekiel Elliott looking pretty good at times. And, I really think this Eagles defense, with the missed tackling last week, you cannot play like that, or they're just going to pound it down your throat. And that's what they're depending on. If we can make them one-dimensional, take that run away. I know Cooper Rush hasn't thrown an interception yet, but I'll be real with you. I think we could get 2 at least 2 in this game. Get pressure on him. Again, make them one-dimensional, take away that run. Cooper Rush is not going to be able. He's a game manager. He needs that defense to be kicking ass. Not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I think they could do well, but I don't think they're just going to push us over like other teams. I think, he's going to have to actually play and not only throw 100 yards like he did last week to beat the Rams. I think this kid will actually have to need CeeDee Lamb, so a limited CeeDee Lamb, no matter what they say, even if he plays or not. You said it. He missed practice Friday. Something's wrong with his hip, man. So that's huge for them. They're going to be relying on those guys. I want to watch out for Gallup too. Noah Brown in the slot, but bro, I love our secondary, and I think Avonte Maddox back. That is huge. So I think Cooper Rush, he's about to have his hands full. I really think the Eagles are going to walk away with this one handily. I really think that make them one-dimensional, make him start turning the ball over, get the crowd into it, and they are not going to know what to do with themselves.
Well, now that you mentioned it, you're saying he's going to have his handful. Let me get your thoughts. What do you think about the success that Rush has been having in Dak's absence? A lot of people do downplay his abilities, but the kid's winning.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not somebody that I'm just going to talk trash because he's a Cowboys player. Don't get me wrong. I hate the Cowboys with all my heart, but I try to keep it real when talking football, and Cooper Rush, how great has it been? As a Cowboys fan, you got to be ecstatic because when Dak Prescott goes down, you got to be thinking, yeah, here it is, another year. This is our year, not our year. Not happening. So you got to be dying inside. So all you're thinking throughout that process is maybe Cooper Rush can win 2 games. Maybe this one's winnable. Maybe. He goes out. He wins 4 games, dude. Not turning the ball over. That's something huge. This offense, bottom of the pack when it comes to yards and points and all those things. But he's managing the game well by not turning the ball over, allowing the defense to help win games. And, they say that can't happen much anymore in today's game. But when you've got a defense like the Eagles or the Cowboys, you can establish your run game and just throttle people. And I think, that's what they hope to do. But unfortunately, the Eagles, I think, are going to be prepared. A lot more Jordan Davis this week. So Cooper Rush, the things are, the reins are in your hand. But I'm going to feel bad for him tomorrow night because, like I said, I think 4+ sacks, 2+ interceptions for this kid. I think he is going to be on his ass, and I feel bad. But in that time, man, great job for him, man. Like, you really went out there, and maybe now you'll be the next Chase Daniel. You'll get, 10, 15 years of just getting big money to be a backup quarterback. Hey, I can come in and manage the game for you. I don't think he's somebody that, teams are like, oh my God, I'm going to go trade my 3rd-round pick and get this guy as my starter. That's, he's somebody that has done really, it's impressed me. I can't believe it. But the defense, without that defense, that young man, I don't think would be winning too many games. But good job for him, man.
Yeah, I like underdog stories. I like fighters. Same thing with Taylor Heineke. There's someone within our conference, but again, same time, I like the way they play. It's just like you might all think that I'm trash, but I keep on winning games. Like he lets his game speak for himself, which I love. He's not a big trash talker. You don't see him out there. He just goes about his business, does his job, gets off the field. Lets the defense do his work, like you said.
I love it too, man. Reminds me of Hurts, just I'll go do my thing. Exactly. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, exactly. Another, Cowboys I want to mention is Ezekiel Elliott. The kid's constantly had success with the Eagles. We've seen him gash it at times. But going forward into tomorrow's game, do you think that there's any concern going into this game with him?
Always. You said it, and any game that's a division rival, I'm always worried because it's like, oh my God, are they going to let this team just look like they're Super Bowl contenders today? You never know. With divisional matchups, who wants to bring the heat? And, the Eagles, with their struggles at times against the run, that leaves me for concern. And the fact that they have Tony Pollard there, keeping Ezekiel Elliott fresh so that he's able, to really look like his old self at times. And look, at times he definitely doesn't. But I think we have to play or be practicing this week as if he is the old Ezekiel Elliott. You have to, okay, our focus is on him. He is the offense here. Dak Prescott, not here. Okay, Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb's banged up. Ezekiel Elliott, man. And, the same could be said for if he's struggling and Tony Pollard comes in. They're going to try to establish that damn run game, and we have to do everything we can. Now, you said it. He's had success before, and he knows that. They hate each other, and it's weird. You see, it's a new trend. It kind of started last year, this year, but like Cowboys fans, they're like, I've never even heard of an Eagles Cowboys rivalry. Did we play each other twice a year or something? And it's like, I would urge you to watch football because we're actually in the same division and we hate each other. Actually, the biggest rivalry in sports. But it's just wild. And you can see that they have had success in the past. So as much as they remember that, I also hope he remembers that we're the real deal right now. And you can see how the fans are acting. I'm hoping that that's how the players feel too. Scared inside, making shit up, going crazy. Oh my God. I hope he's just doing stupid things, turning the ball over. Hopefully maybe a fumble or two from Ezekiel Elliott. That would be great. So when they come into our house, you know, people want to say whatever, like, oh, you're just a fan. You can't do anything. And it's like, well, I urge you to go to an Eagles game sometime and watch what that crowd will do to a team trying to call their plays. We're going to bring the ruckus tomorrow, and I hope they're ready. I hope Ezekiel Elliott's ready. I think, you know, I'd like to see a fumble from him. I'd like to see Kazir White and TJ Edwards just putting him on his ass.
Listen, one of the players that I think that could neutralize Zeke Elliott is Jordan Davis. So let me get your thoughts because I heard you mention him before.
Yes.
Do you think he's underutilized?
No, here's the thing. This is the kid I wanted in the draft. For anybody that follows me knows I was big on you had to add a nose tackle if Jonathan Gannon's going to have success. Now, the thing we talked about this offseason is, dude, we've got a lot of interior defensive linemen here. That's great. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. We'll see if Hargrave gets an extension this year. Cox is probably gone next year with the way his contract is set up. So you've got guys that need to learn from them. But if these guys are still playing at a top level, I'm perfectly fine with that. And, you know, you've seen that from Cox and Hargrave, you know, and there have been times where they've had questionable plays, but they've been looking amazing. And it looks like they're figuring things out still, you know, and last year they ran this scheme, but now they're not being put out of position. People are being used correctly. And, you know, it's huge for them. So one of the things was, though, add a real nose tackle, Jordan Davis. This guy is not Cox, he's not Hargrave. Those guys can play 3, 4, 5 technique as defensive ends in those odd fronts. Jordan Davis, that's your zero shade, your 1 technique, 2 tech. This guy, he's going to eat 2, 3, 4 people alive at the same time. That's what you want. See, people talk about we got to create pressure. We have to do that by, you know, blitzing. No, you have to do that by the guys that are being sent in. They get pressure. We have 5-man fronts most of the time. I mean, we're sending the house, but if you put Jordan Davis in the middle there, he's taking up 2, maybe 3 of those guys, and that allows everyone else to go eat. And then you can have the rest of the 7 guys, the 1 linebacker, 6 defensive backs, you know, covering, or 5 defensive backs. Or you have them covering, you know, all of the receivers, tight ends, doing that great stuff. And in a passing league, you want that. So Jordan Davis, this is the guy. Had to have him, right? Well, what we talked about was the fact that you also have to realize a big dude, he's not used to playing a whole game. So we're going to have to let him slowly progress each week. And what you've seen in his snap count is just that. And each week it keeps going up. So last week I said, I need to see this week 40%. They're going to try to use James Conner. Now they did before he got hurt. It's great. But I need to see more nose tackle. So this week I said the same thing on my show the other day. Look, I need 45%. Maybe even 50% of the snaps. I need this kid out here. I need another uptick, another big one. Now, if he's still at 45%, I'm not mad about it because Milton Williams, Marlon Tuipulotu have been doing great as depth too. So, I mean, it's about situational football. And that's why a certain guy's playing at a certain time. Now, more run-heavy teams, you're going to see more Jordan Davis. And I think you would have seen even more of him last week had James Conner, James Conner not gotten hurt. You know, I'm thinking I call Jalen Hurts Terminator. Too many things going on up there. But
he beat cancer like he beat the Terminator.
He's the man. Another great underdog story. I have him in fantasy, though. I didn't play him last week, thankfully. But now he's out for a couple weeks. Story of my life. But James Conner, you know, I think he would have, you know, allowed that offense to keep rolling a lot of times. So that would have been scary. So don't let that happen this week. So love the question. I don't think that it's necessarily underutilized just because I think they're bringing him along at the right pace. And, you know, if things got out of hand last week, I might be like, okay, what are you doing here? And those other guys were struggling. But it's like, okay, do I take this guy out to have it? So I think you do see 45, 50% of Jordan Davis. And I think that's perfectly fine with me this week. Take away that run, man. Love it.
Yeah. When you see Jordan Davis' like efficiency rating when he's on the field, I think that's the one thing that everyone's like, he needs to be on the field more. But I get what you're saying. You know, you want to bring him along slowly. You want him to get into this rotation. You want those other guys, like you mentioned, Milton Williams. Shout out to Big Milt. He's the reason why we won that game. It wasn't a missed field goal, by the way. He blocked that. He got a hand on
he didn't. He said he didn't, actually.
Hey, the footage shows ball misdirection.
It does look like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna give it to Big Mill. He's
I love
very
it.
humble. He's a very humble guy. I hope he comes along because if he does, like we said, this defensive front is gonna be.
He's our Aaron Donald, bro. Him,
Yeah.
Jordan Davis. If we extend Hargrave for the future, dude, with Marlon Tuipulotu, there's depth. We're fine if Cox leaves next year. These guys are growing into their own. I think Milt is that dude. I love that kid, and I'm more than excited to see what he does. But Jordan Davis, his efficiency, as you had mentioned, he's able to be so efficient because you keep him healthy, you keep him fresh, and we allow him each week to get more and more so he can stay efficient while dominating. So I love that, man. Great point.
Yeah. And speaking of health, we have our guy, the main Kiwi, the big guy himself, our left tackle, Jordan Mailata is back. What are your thoughts on him being able to play this week?
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I really, one of the things I mentioned earlier in the week was, will he play? And if not, this is going to be the matchup to watch here and it still is because it's a banged up Jordan Mailata. But to me, I love Jack Driscoll, but it's much better having Mailata here because what they're going to do is send Micah Parsons to that side. And, Lane Johnson, we all know who he is. He ain't letting you through. So they're going to attack what they, consider the weaker side. But, put a man over there with Mailata, put a tight end over there, run some 12, 13 personnel, get multiple tight ends in there, do what you can to assist Jordan. Jordan Mailata, what a great story he is. But, he's still a little banged up, so he's not going to be 100%. And that, it concerns me if he's 100% healthy that Micah Parsons is there. Micah Parsons is the real deal. So, man, do all you can to help out Jordan Mailata. Get a running back there, in the backfield with Hurts, just on the left side. Do what you got to do. I think Lane will be able to handle his own now, depending on what the strong side or the weak side is for the play. Obviously things will change, but give Mailata some help this week because their 4-man rush is the real deal.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very interesting. I think for me, that's the best part of the game. Seeing the fight between the trenches. See what goes on with the big guys up front.
Always.
I'm an offensive lineman to the day I die. I love watching the trench fighting. But going forward, we also have another Eagle returning. One, very important. I think a very important and vital part of our team, Jake Elliott. But last week, we had special teamer of the week, Cameron Dicker. He's the guy who won the game for us. Was in a tight situation, came through. But what are your thoughts? Do we start Elliott or do we let Cameron, continue on?
I do believe that Jake Elliott will get his start. But I think one of the things that I would do if I'm the Eagles is we have practice squad elevations coming today. You make 2 of them. We're healthy across the board now. The last couple of weeks we've been bringing up defensive back Andre Sacheret, and I love that kid. But, Josiah Scott is now in that role because Avonte Maddox is back. So you don't need him. I don't think, there's so many things that I feel, you're perfectly fine where you could, if there's one guy you want to bring up somewhere, cool. But the other one has to be Cameron Dicker. I think for me, have this kid come to the game Sunday, have him kicking off because he's a great kickoff specialist, but not kicking field goals. I'd still have Jake Elliott kicking the field goals, but if anything were to happen to him, then you have a kicker here. But also, for all the touchdowns and field goals we're about to put on the Cowboys, he's going to have to be kicking off the ball a lot. So I think, let's have someone else take over that for a week. Let him get fresh. But, Jake Elliott, I love the dude. And what a great career he's had for us. And, he came along out of nowhere, too. An injury to Alex Henry brought Jake Elliott along. And then you see, Cameron Dicker here. What a great game he had, special teams player of the week there and everything. That's awesome. One of the things that concerned me, though, was his accuracy. He had like 75% in Texas, so that's not great at all. But he's got a boot on him. So I wanted to keep this kid on the practice squad, not only in case something happens to Jake Elliott, but the last couple of years, this kid actually was punting at Texas. So maybe we can get someone to push Aaron Sipos at practice. So I love this Cameron Dicker kid. I would keep him around just on the practice squad to see if he couldn't, maybe get somebody moving in a different direction at the punter position. And, great to have him there as a kickoff specialist for this week.
Listen, I love that, especially with the fact that, with Elliott, nursing that injury, you don't always want him doing kick returns. You don't want him to expend that foot. So if you have Dicker in there, hey, you can put him off kickoffs. And like you said, we need someone to push Sipos because last season, in the beginning of the season, he was playing pretty well. But after, mid-season, he's been off. He's been a different type, he's been a different punter. So, yeah, we do need someone to push him along. And if Dicker's the guy, hey, special teams player of the week, we can try to get it doubled up. Get it for this week as well.
I'm all about it, dude.
Like I said, I'm all about the underdog story. But let me ask you a question. We're talking about our opponent. Let's talk about Dallas. Let me get your thoughts on how they've performed so far this season. Again, we talked about it. They had the loss of their quarterback. We all know what happened in 2020 when Dak suffered that horrific ankle injury. But we all seen how the level of play for Dallas just fell off when he was gone. You thought that was going to happen this year, but they had a bright spot in Cooper Rush. So let me get your thoughts on the team as a whole.
Oh, man, they have to be ecstatic. People were calling for Mike McCarthy's job, everything under the sun. I mean, everyone was, you better win the Super Bowl this year or, blow it up because no one wants to hear it anymore. And then when he gets hurt, you just said you expected to see the same thing from them. And look, they dealt with that adversity handily and they beat teams, like the Rams, the Bengals, like holy so that's got to be a confidence booster, man. So they're going into this game. They don't care that we're 5-0. They're hungry. They would love to destroy our streak, come into our house. So I think, they've learned a lot, dude. And they've performed above expectations. And they've been able to shut down some pretty good offenses. So this defense is no pushover. The only thing I have tried to bring up this week is the fact that they haven't faced a real offensive line yet. So that's cute and cool that, they've done all these great things, but I want to see what they do this week. As much as I've heard, well, the Eagles have to face the Cowboys. In my mind, it's, well, now the Cowboys have to face the Eagles. So we're going to find out how much you really can rely on Cooper Rush, the game manager, when you face a real team. So look, man, for me, I thought they've done phenomenal, way above what I expected. I've lost lots of money the past couple of weeks betting against them. So they've done really great, man. That's got to be great for the defense throughout the season. Trevon Diggs sucks. He is the most overrated cornerback in the league. But, when you get pressure, that makes things much easier on those guys in the back end. They've got quite a safety tandem there. They run a lot of big nickel, those 3 safety sets. And Jaron Kearse, I think you'll see a lot of him this week matching up with Dallas Goedert as that jack of all trades for them, that Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. So I think, this defense has learned a lot about themselves. They are the real deal. And Dan Quinn, we all know he is a great defensive-minded guy. He just had to have the right pieces. Micah Parsons in there. Oh, my God, you can do a lot of things. DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong's been looking great. There's a lot of pieces on here. Van Der Esch is finally getting better again. They added Anthony Barr. I mean, they've got pieces here. So I think this team, they are good and good for them, man. Going 4-1, that is impressive for sure. And Cooper Rush managing those games, that's great. But I feel they're getting their asses kicked, and Cooper Rush is getting his first loss tomorrow.
Hey, listen, I from your lips, man, from your lips. But let me ask you, though, for the Eagles, what is it about the Cowboys that should concern them?
That blitz, obviously, and, not even just the blitz. We talk about the pressure they had with 4 men, probably the best team to be able to do it. When you've got, Parsons, Lawrence, Ogazigwa in the middle there. I mean, Dorrance Armstrong's doing really well. There are guys that can come at you from all over the place. And it's like, oh, Jesus. So I'm concerned with Jordan Mailata's injury. I think they're going to try to attack there. So you got to watch that. And only thing, I'm not really concerned about it, but if I had to be, I'd be concerned, that they didn't learn from last week and get away from the run. If they were to be shut down at first. And look, Dallas is 19th, I believe, against the run, allowing like 117 yards, 117.6, something like that. So you can run the ball on them. So you can't get away from that run. Even if you struggle at first, you got to do that. So that would concern me. On defense, man, everybody's pumping up this Cowboys defense. I think the world's about to learn what this Eagles did. Now, of course, their excuse, well, it was Cooper Rush, who cares? But they're going to see that this defense is for real. So I would be concerned of missed tackling. So to show people you're a good defense, you have to tackle. You got to start doing that. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson's finally coming into his own, so they're all going to get on the same page. And I talked a lot these past few weeks about wait until it's just reacting rather than having to think and then react. It's going to be a much different defense, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited there. So my concerns on offense would be getting away from the run, and on defense, missed tackling. I can't do that.
Yeah, definitely. But let me focus over the attention to a former Eagle. One of our greats, a left tackle, and Jason Peters. Now this week, like we said, it's rival. A lot of things are said, a lot of chalkboard materials put out there. But Jason Peters, I feel, stepped out of bounds this week. He called the Eagles fan base effing idiots. What are your thoughts on those comments?
Well, I laughed, and I'll tell you what, man, I'm growing as a person because after I saw that, I was getting ready to make a tweet, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm an idiot, am I? And obviously, this offseason, if anybody follows me, I handled the media handily. For all the talk, they were talking about all these things that weren't going to happen. I literally talked about Hassan Reddick, drafting Jordan Davis, getting Kaiser White, James Bradbury. I made of it. I mean, AJ Brown, all these things. And it was like, oh, I'm an idiot, am I? Let me introduce you to Cowboys fans talking about, yeah, well, your team's 5-0. And it's like, yeah, but you only have 4 passing touchdowns. It's like, okay, let me try to help you understand this. So the Eagles right now, we run the ball more, I think 3rd or 4th most in the NFL. We pass the ball 29th and 47% of the time, I think it is. So that's 29th in the league. We don't pass the ball that much compared to other teams, okay? But we're 7th in the league when it comes to passing yards. So wait a second. Does that mean they're efficient when they do pass the ball? Oh, my God. And we're number 1 in air yards, 8.5 with Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. So hold on a second. This guy can throw the ball. So it seems to me that the only effing idiots out here are the people that doubted the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Gannon, Howie Roseman, everybody under the sun. So after this game Sunday, we'll see who the true effing idiots are, Jason Peters. Now, I did see like, oh, it was all in fun, and he had a backtrack, and like, no, I was saying, it's like, look, dog, you said what you said, and I already hated seeing you in that Dallas uniform. You should have just stayed retired, but you didn't. So, look, man, I think that was awfully ballsy of him, giving us something to piss us off. Like, all right, dog, you talk shit on us, so you know the fans are going to be letting you all have it. Well, I mean, we're going to anyway. But now our team is going to be there for us, and they're going to beat your ass. And then we're going to ask you. I wish, see, one day I'm going to get my press pass, and I'm going to be, instead of the Eagles locker room, I'll make sure to get to the Dallas locker room. I'll say, hey, do you feel like an effing idiot? That's all I want to. That's what I would ask him. But we'll see who the effing idiots are tomorrow night around midnight.
Well, when Peters made that comment, he kind of doubled down. I don't know. He was like a backtrack / double down. Followed up by saying they pride themselves on being nasty and vulgar. They're going to cuss at you. They're going to throw stuff. They pride themselves on that, and they know it. Now,
I won't throw stuff, but yes, to the rest.
For one, this is something that I hate. I hate how people try to put the narrative on Philadelphia fans as being the worst. We're going to throw things at you. We're constantly cursing at you. Let's talk about the 49ers fan base. Let's talk about the Raiders fan base. Hell, let's talk about every fan base that is in California that just, when you go to a game, you might get stabbed or shot.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the fact that you can't wear different kind of colors because of their gangs. Philadelphia is by far not anywhere near one of the worst fan bases. If not, we're one of the most loyal. We travel well. We're one of the most respectful. Now, if you come into our field, in our house, wearing an opposing jersey, and you're going to talk junk, best believe there's going to be 80,000 people that is going to have that person's back that's next to them, going to follow and be like, sit down, shut up, and just watch the game. We're not going to let that happen. That's one thing about us. We won't let you disrespect us. But at the same time, we'll be very disrespectful to any other fan bases, aside of Dallas when they, come out their necks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand that thought process of some of the people that go to those games. And it's like, look, man, if I'm going into the Lions den, like, I'm going to expect to get a little scratch there. Like, yep. But if I'm like throwing shit at the Lion, I'm definitely getting torn apart. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. So, I've always grown up and, we'll haggle people, have a great time. One thing, the rest of the world, no one likes us. We don't care. It's fine, because we know what they don't like is they can't stay true to their team. They don't know a passion. They can't be on their deathbed and be like, you know what? If I die, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my time to talking the Eagles. Like, they don't know what that's like. So when their team's losing, oh, well, I'm a Bengals fan this year. So they don't know how it is to go through the tough times and then to go through the good times, because, they're always picking a different team when, and you saw the Jason Kelsey comment, they're all Lakers, Yankees. Well, I know that's not all of them, but the majority of that fan base, it's pretty funny to me that, this fan base ever says anything to us or anybody, because it's like, dude, we're the most dedicated, loyal, loving, passionate, like insane fans ever. And, of course there are going to be bad apples in our fan base, but there is in every single one. And it's funny that people even act that way. And I love what we do now as Philly fans. Every time something horrible happens at another stadium, oh my God, I can't believe Philly fans went all the way there to San Diego. Like, it's just like, you always talk trash on us, but don't say an effing word about, when they do stuff. So let them keep hating on us, man. They hate what we have. And that's a passion that is just unmatched, man. They know it could be pouring rain, the snow. Dude, I got out of the hospital right after I beat death. I was literally at that Falcons game. My doctor was like, you cannot go there. Like, if you get sick, I had like 9 layers on, dude. Had this hernia the size of Denver attached to my, down there. And it was like, there's no way I could be going. And I made it, dude, because I wasn't missing it for the world. And it's like that they don't understand. And people usually hate what they don't understand.
Yeah, listen, we have a true like, it's more than passion. We have a serious love for our team. And we'll go all out for our team. Like I said, we're not disrespectful by any means. But again, if you push us to, to a certain point, we're going to react. You keep on knocking on the devil's door, one day he's going to answer. And that's the thing is, with Philly fans, we're quick to respond and we're quick witted. And that's what they can't stand. They can't stand when we say something. We're quick to respond. They have nothing back. And
knowledge pisses them off.
Yep. It always pisses on because they try to move the goalposts. Well, if this person played on another team, guess what? They don't. That's the fact of the matter.
All I try to do is bring facts. And when they start going a different area and they just start regurgitating, they heard from someone else or something stupid, I'll just be like, all right, you're done here. And that block button came into great use this week because I'm like, look, dude, everybody knows whether you're a Cowboys fan, Giants fan, I'll talk to all of you. I don't care. I love talking sports. My man Drew. But I think, it's when people try to get sassy with me. Like, oh, okay, little buddy, I match energy. So as much as you think I'm the nicest guy in the world, just understand I could be the opposite of that. And it's like, I grew up differently, man. Like, I'm a Philly fan through and through. Like, this is not, something new to me. And you see these people that are now becoming Philly fans, and it's like, hey, be careful in this fan base. We are insane. And, you said it, like, we're not looking for a fight. It's usually those people that go to our stadium dressed in, 16 Cowboys layers and all this stuff. And, all this stuff. What's up, Raphael? And it's like, it's just, you're looking for a fight. Now, people might say stuff to you. Nobody's going to beat you up. Like, that narrative is so stupid. But, if you are talking shit to people and like throwing punches and trying to start a fight, I can assure you that you will find at least 1, maybe 10 people that will want to kick your ass out of the 50, 60. I mean, there's thousands of people there, man. So it's just funny that they try to push those narratives. It's like, wrong, dude. We just love our birds.
Yeah, man, listen, especially when you're in Philly, if you're a Dallas fan and you're talking junk, you might be talking to someone who doesn't care about their future. Understand that. Has no worries about their future. So, yeah, they'll take care of you handily. But again, don't poke the bear. There's no reason to. It's been 27 years since you've been relevant. Stay in the shadows. Stay in the shadows for once.
Vic, I'm sending you a video, bro. It's when it comes up on my memories from the hospital, I'm going to send it to you because you don't poke the bear. And in that year, there were some Steelers fans as my nurses and stuff. Like, bro, I'm on my deathbed and you want to talk shit? Like, sorry, dude. But
no, you're good.
It's like, wait, what? And they saw how passionate I was too. Like, there were literally times where the doctors came in the one Sunday and they're like, hey, and they brought like 14 doctors with it. Like, it was bad. I was almost dying. They're like, we need to talk. And I was like, it's like, if you guys could wait for a commercial, that'd be. And they're like, what, dude? And I've got my Eagle. They're like, you're not supposed to have like your jersey on your stuff here. I'm like, it's for good luck. And they're like, I'm like, I can't put it on because it was attached to all this stuff. Like, it's got to be a part of me somehow. And they're like, okay, weirdo. So, but I remembered that. They were talking trash after seeing me like that. So when I was able to start walking and I had my thing, I walked by with my Eagles thing on. And there's a video of it like, hey, how those Steelers do? Like, they lost or something. And it was like the greatest. So it's like, if you don't poke the bear, you don't get that. But even on my deathbed, I'm going to remember your ass and I'm going to get you. So that's how we are.
Listen, death themselves can be pulling on our jacket, and we're still going to talk trash. But let me ask you a question about Jason Peters. Like I said, he was one of our stalwarts. He was our left tackle for a while. Like, he was here for our Super Bowl championship. He's been here longer than he should, and that was because we loved him so much. But going forward, do you think that'll change the way Eagles fans feel? Has he hurt his legacy in Philadelphia?
I think he has to an extent, and he wouldn't have had he just said that. But people already felt a certain way because you joined you're helping the Cowboys, dude. You went off your couch to go help them. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Go get that money. Wasn't like, oh my God, I hate you. But it's like, that rubs me wrong. Then you go and say some stuff like that. It's like, oh, all right. Now, if they were to go in and like somehow miraculously pull off a W and he starts talking some shit, then I think he's tarnished. Now, I think people will get over this one. I think they understand what he's saying. We're nasty, we're crazy, we're effing idiots. We don't care what happens. I think that's, what he was saying. But it's like, it's true. We're nuts. But, not I don't know. They try to make us seem like, we're assholes. Like you shouldn't be around us. It's like, it's fun. Like go to a game sometime and you'll see what a real fan looks like, So I think for him backtracking on it, that helps him. And I think after we beat their ass and he's going to say, oh, I love these fans so much now. And it's going to be all good now. And I'll give him love. I will. I'll give him love tomorrow because that's my dude, man. The bodyguard. I love him. I do. But man, you really joined the Cowboys and said that. Okay. You're still getting booed when you're playing.
I'm a little different. Once you cross those enemy lines, hey, they've been crossed. There's no coming back.
You know what, Vic? That was T.O. for me. When I was younger, T.O. did that. I was like, F you, bro. And, it was Donovan, all that stuff going on. But I was like, you know what? F you, bro. So I get it, bro. And I'm not saying that's not the right way. And I feel you, dude. Once you do that, that pisses me off too. But for me, I'm trying to make sense of what he said, So let's see how this game goes and I'll decide how I feel.
Yeah, we'll let it rest. And let me just get to this because, we discussed Jalen Hurts a little bit. We mentioned him here and there. Let me get your thoughts on his performance so far this season.
Damn. Just this kid, we talked about this all season in his progression, what he needed to do. And he went out and got all of those things done. He worked on, and I think what was huge for him was being able to work in the same system for the first time since high school. He didn't have to go into this all season learning a new playbook. He got to go out and learn the things he needed to do to be a better quarterback. So, from little things, we talked about more torque, less velocity. We talked about where he's holding the ball in the pocket, how he's got his hands on the ball, his footwork in the pocket, his reads, progression, all of those things. And he's like, yeah, I know. So, I made a close connection with people very close to him. And I made sure last year, like, let's get people on board here. Let's get people excited. And, last year it was, but just temper your expectations. Bumpy roads are ahead. Now, this year it was, okay, I want to see progression each week, going into the season. Bro, that first week I was like, holy shit. Like I thought he was going to be, great, but that quickly to come out after. And I think, one of the things when I had a trainer on my show last year was the best story was when they're talking about the Eagles need to trade for Deshaun Watson, blah, blah, and it was on the TV. And the trainer he's like, oh, sorry, let me turn that off. And Jalen was like, hey, leave it on. And worked out the rest of the day, like listening to them, like talking shit about him. Like that dude took all of the hate, man, all of the people talking trash on him. He can't develop. No quarterback has ever developed, and he's got to trade every. And he was like, "Oh, is that so?" And he came out, dude, and he's gone above my expectations. And I actually had him doing really well. And now he still has certain issues that were still from last year, but I see the progression already, and I know that. As the weeks go by, you said this at the beginning of the show, Vic. The thing people aren't looking at is the fact that this team's only going to get better each week. So Steichen and Gannon, on offense and defense, they're learning their ways. These players got to do the same thing. So once everyone's on the same page, man, it's going to be insane. So Jalen Hurts is continuing to develop, but I think it's finally killed the narrative. Like, oh, yeah, this guy can't even develop. He's being talked about in the MVP conversation. And people were saying just a few weeks ago, he can't even develop into a good quarterback. And it's like, well, I mean, I think he can. So impressive in that. And I love him off the field, just his attitude. And you can tell he's going to help the city of Philadelphia. Dude's just, I call him the Terminator because I don't know, man. He just means business. He's not going to, talk to you, do anything. He's just going to kick your ass. And that's what Philly is, man. Blue collar. That's what we want. A hardworking dude who's going to go out and he means business, and he'll talk his shit when it's time, dude, because he'll let everybody yap their mouth. And then when he goes and shows them, that's when he comes back. And everybody gets offended then. But it's like, well, what? I thought you were keeping that energy for a year. You can't deal with one day of hearing it? Oh, okay. Got you. So I love it, dude. I love this, dude.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Jalen Hurts has the right attitude for Philadelphia. The way he conducts himself, he's probably one of the best leaders Philadelphia's had in his short time. The way he conducts his business, the way he goes about it. Come on, man. One of the best. Only Peyton Manning is the only person I can think of that handled the way they go about their business. He's very focused. This offseason, he did what he needed to do. He heard the criticism. He, like you said, turn the TV on, my guy, put it up. Don't change it from my account. I want to hear what they're saying, because I think he hears those things, and not that he needs it necessarily, but it still fuels him.
Yep. He's like the juggernaut. You hit him, he gets stronger, dude. I love it.
Yeah, he has a chip on his shoulder, but he doesn't show it. That's the best part. Like, he's not cocky about it. He's not going to say anything about it, but he hears everything, and he lets his play let him do the talking. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I love about it. But there's one thing you mentioned. You talked about Jalen Hurts as an MVP. A lot of people don't think about it that way. Don't think about it in that light. So let me get your response. Is he a serious MVP candidate?
I do believe so. And, I almost got my head chopped off when I was talking about it last year. And it was like, if you look at, dual threat quarterback to me is not bad. I grew up watching Randall Cunningham and then Donovan McNabb, then got the pleasure of Michael Vick. Like, yes, like that gets me excited. So when we got Jalen Hurts, I was like, wait, when we drafted him, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And, the whole fiasco with Wentz and this and that, it was like, what the? So it was hard for anybody to focus on the kid himself because there was so much drama. And that's why I was talking to you earlier, about like bringing on his chef, bringing on his trainer, just trying to learn everything about him. I didn't care about the outside noise. And all I heard was this guy waking up 4 a.m., making sure he's eating the right amount of meat. It was just like, what? Like, this dude is nuts. He wants to be the best. So I knew he had the right attitude. It's just, can he use that skill set to be an MVP? For me, it was always, hell yeah. I mean, he's not like Lamar Jackson when he runs, and he's not like Peyton Manning when he throws, but he's got a great combination of both. And I thought at Alabama and Oklahoma, he showed me enough passing the ball with a new system each year that he was able to do those things that I thought, man, if you could grow that kid into a system, build around him, have a defense, it could be really scary. So this year, what you're seeing is the same thing what, the Ravens should be doing for Lamar Jackson. Build around a guy that isn't, the best pocket passer at first. Exactly what the Bills did for Josh Allen. You give him a weapon. You give him a defense. You give him bright-minded coaches. You help the kid out. Help him learn to be better. And, I made a comparison last year, the first 19 starts of Hurts to Allen. And I even said, like, this is not to compare the skill set. It's to compare how much a person can grow from that moment. So I talked about, what he could be and be on the level with Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson, with Patrick Mahomes, talking about elite quarterbacks. And this kid has already proven it in 5 games that he's on the road there. And he's in his second year as starter, and I think he's going to continue to get better. Mm-hmm. So throughout this year, dude, I think the games where he's running the ball, I love it. Where he has to pass the ball, okay. It's situational football. I'm not somebody like, oh my God, he only had 4 passes. If we're scoring, we're winning. We've had a 14-point lead each week so far. I'm good with that. I'm good with a balanced team. So for me, he is definitely an MVP candidate. Is he the number 1 right now? No. I mean, you still have guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes out there, but the fact that this kid is in the top 5 conversation for me is insane, that we just went from weeks ago trying to convince people that this kid could develop into, okay, yeah, he could be MVP candidate. And look, who knows what the rest of the year is going to show, but I think he's only going to get better. I think Steichen and Sirianni together with the offense will get better at opening up the playbook for him, trusting him to do more things than just simple screens, the same wide receiver screen over and over. Like I said earlier, slants and mesh concepts, running back streets, use different things, help him, trust in him. And I think they will as time goes by, and a healthy line. I think all of those things will continue to build on his MVP status.
Yeah, man, look, he's gone far. Last season, he's had ups and downs. And listen, just like you, I made the comparison with him and Josh Allen. And just for that, because a lot of people tend to forget Josh Allen's first 2 seasons. They automatically think the kid came in as an MVP caliber talent. He was probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL his first 2 seasons. Yep. 3rd season, that's when you've seen the change happen. And that's the same thing comparison I was making. You got to give guys time sometimes so that way they can develop. And listen, I've argued with people saying, I've had conversations on lives arguing, people saying Gardner Minshew has a higher ceiling. Shout out to Joe Castro. But again, trust in Jalen. Look at the type of player he is. The last time he had an offensive system that he was able to be in for 2 seasons straight was back in high school. And I believe his father was his head coach. Like that's an insane amount of time. Going into Alabama, dealing with that adversity, losing the job to Tua, then going to Oklahoma, taking over that job, playing well, being a Heisman candidate, then coming into the league as a 2nd-round pick, basically as a gadget player. And then when they gave him the opportunity that same season, had a 4-game streak that, people still talk about. Coming into the next season last year as a starter. Started off a little slow, but again, you saw progression. And the one thing I talked about this all season is the only thing I want to see out of Jalen Hurts, I don't want to see, Super Bowls. I don't want to see it. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for an NFC championship from him. I'm looking for steady progression. And out the box, the kid has been showing that. And I think he is a serious MVP candidate. And for us, it's only to our benefit because he's our quarterback for years to come. You know what I mean? We're going to make some room for him to sign that contract. But if he continues to progress on that upward trajectory, yeah, I believe it, man. There might be another championship in our future, and it might come very soon, especially with this young roster, especially with this wide receiving core. But
people will say crazy now, but I'm telling you, a dynasty is on the way.
Yeah, I won't go so far as say this year, but I said it's on the horizon. And
no, I'm just saying that's what we're building. It's what's happening. And I'm a long haul person. Yep. I don't look at one, and it's like, look, man, we're building something that's going to be a contender for a long time. I think this year you could make it definitely to the Super Bowl. I really think this team, if they stay healthy and build on the things they need to, definitely. But I think by next year, it's lights out. We're the best team in the league. We are in control. People are hating us more than they've ever hated us. I already see it, man. It's happening. So let's go Birds, baby.
Hey, if we can get our contract situations and in check, because Howie's he's been doing good. This past
offseason, man with that.
Great. But this offseason, he has a task ahead of him. There are a lot of signings, a lot of decisions to be made. So hopefully we can get it going forward so that we can go next year. We can, we can continue the train. But let me ask you a question, because we talked about it a little bit earlier. We talked about, those Cowboys fans. Let me get your thoughts. What do you think about this Eagles-Cowboys fan rivalry?
When I was younger, I used to always liken it to it's kind of the tough guy is the Eagles, and then the little D-bag who he wants to talk trash all the time, but he ain't going to back it up. That's that person in school. And you always know, remember that, you'd always say something. They always are tough, but they're always running. They don't actually ever want heat, but they've got a lot of talk behind the scenes. So you're seeing that this last couple of years, I mentioned earlier in the video, these guys are talking about what, we're not a rivalry. The Eagles have never played the Cowboys, shit that's not even in real life. And it's dude, what? So for me, it's just embarrassing on their part. They are so afraid of what we are as fans, what our team is this year. And it's always been like that. It's so hilarious to me that, those people always, and Giants fans are the same way. They're just like the little stepbrother of the Cowboys. They're just as unintelligent, just as upset about just everything in life. And it's Jesus, help us all. So, we try to show them what real fans are. We do our best. And, they usually just get mad about it. And this week has been hilarious watching all of the Eagles people talking to Cowboys people, just watching them go with the most ridiculous narratives I've ever seen. And look, it's funny. People, want to ride with, they'll try to throw stats at you, and then they'll say stuff like, well, stats are for idiots. And it's so you take their thing and just retweet it to them. And it's so is this you? And it's that's what you're dealing with. So it's you got to realize but for me, it's my favorite thing. Since I was a kid, we're always busting balls because, in Pennsylvania, you've got, well, anywhere in the world, bandwagon fans are everywhere. So Cowboys fans, it's not so it was always weird growing up, always busting their balls, so I'd always ask them hey, who's your left tackle? Always quiz them on who their team was. And they'd be well, we have Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. And I'd be oh, so you just don't even know. Okay, cool. So to me, it's they're fair weather fans. They try, but I love what Jason Kelce said. They're commercialized. They all like the Yankees, Lakers for the most part. So to me, it's hilarious that they even try to compare themselves. It's cute that we acknowledge them, but I think we do it just to show them how lowly they are to us. You know what I mean? They act like there's no rivalry, and we're you should be lucky we even acknowledge you, because an embarrassment that fan base is to their team. Oh.
It is an embarrassment when you say that you're a fan of a team and you don't remember the famous 4th and 1 call. It could be for the fact that, those fans at times forget things because, like I said, it's been 28 years since they've been in the Super Bowl, but every year they think that they're going to be in it. But again, that's what Dallas fans are. But let me ask you, in a serious question, though, do you think, Dallas fans at times can be overly toxic?
Oh, yeah. And look, man, with my health, I can't, I match energy, and I like having a good time sometimes when people want to dance with the devil. But it's I got to chill out sometimes and watch it. And those people, that's what I realized, and everybody knows me. I'm the nicest guy in the world. I'll give you my shirt off my back. But if you start being taught, you're going to come in and you don't want to talk about real sports. Like you just literally want to be negative and whine and well, all right, let's dance. And I've been trying. I told you, I've been trying to get better, just blocking these people, getting rid of them. And it's like, they just don't stop. Like they literally, and there's got to be something to that, because if you remember the kids you went to school with that were Cowboys fans, you remember and you think about like, oh, what's going on with their life right now? And that's not for everybody. I'm not busting everybody's balls, but it's
We
like
all
you think
had
about it.
The playground that we hated.
You know that those kids, man, they grew up. They're the narc. They're the rat. You know, these kids, they're out. They became alcoholic, junk, whatever. And I'm not to judge anybody. I'm just saying, these people, there's something going on behind closed doors that they just want to be so angry all the time. And it's like, for as much as people say the Eagles fans, like, oh, they're so evil and mean. And it's like, bro, go to my channel and watch me. I'll just talk sports and be like, F you! And it's like, okay, dude, why don't you go sit in a corner over here, pal? Because I don't think you know what you're dealing with here. And, it's something at this age in my life, man. Like, I can't be going back to jail, fighting people. I can't be hurting little kids because, I'm a cowboy. It's like, bro, you ain't about that life. You are not very aware of what a Philadelphia fan is. So they should be very thankful for the internet.
They are. You know what? A lot of those Dallas fans, they don't even talk football. They talk about more other people. They talk about other things other than football.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they tend to do, just to fill in the space. They don't have much to talk about because they haven't done much in the past 30 years. There's a full generation. There's a full generation of people that have spent their lives not even knowing of Dallas winning any playoff games for that matter.
That's crazy.
But let me ask you a question, and a serious question at that. Let's try to focus. Let's try to get serious here. What are your thoughts? Like, how would you think that a fan base could be so delusional for year in and year out and think that there's some kind of threat when they haven't been to a Super Bowl for 27 years? What would drive you or a fan base or any fan for that matter that delusional to think that way?
Crack cocaine would. I think Michael Irvin is out giving people. Honestly, I don't know, man. And it's funny, man, because they're not even from there. Like they didn't grow, you know what I mean? You have no ties, and you change each year to a different team anyway. It's like, why do you beat yourself up over it? Like, go just pick a new team this year, and then don't act like the first 3 weeks. It's like, oh, should I be a Cowboys fan? Should I not? So you don't see anything from them and then they're like, oh, I can come out now. And it's like, what the hell? I wouldn't want to do that to myself. So, dude, it's got crack cocaine. That'd be my best guess. I don't know. No, but not even to talk trash on people, because I don't like to make fun of like drugs and stuff like that. I know people go through stuff, but it is the most delusional fan base I've ever met in my life. And it's hilarious, dude. I was a little boy when they were last in the playoffs. And seriously, I'm a grown man now, and I still hear people and I'm like, no, you realize like you literally have not won. Like you're just a laughing stock. Like your last Super Bowl's on VHS, dog. Like we're not even in the same century. Okay. Well,
listen, and shout out to my people that live in England. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but they just remind me of the Brits, because in England, they teach you that the British Empire has not stopped, that the Queen still is the Queen. She still rules. That's how Dallas fans are. They still think that, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, they're still playing for them, and Troy Aikman's back there. That's their mindset. They're locked into 92, 93. They've totally forgotten what's happened since then. But let me ask you one last question. Could you just let the good people, the good Dallas fans know, just explain to them how much of an afterthought that they are to Eagles fans?
Oh, dude, the biggest afterthought. And that's what's funny. Like, you see, at least 10 posts a day of like a Cowboys fan always like, it's so funny how much Eagles fans talk about us. And you never see like Eagles fans making posts like, oh, and it's like, why are you, what? Like, so, they think about us throughout the year. They'll comment on your stuff. They'll tell you about Jalen Hurts. They'll tell you, I've never once talked to anybody about Cooper Rush, anything. I don't give a shit. Like if you talk to me about it, yeah, but I'm not going to find you out, go find you to talk trash on you. When it's Dallas week, that's when we let you have it. And that's when, well, I've never even heard of the Eagles. I don't talk to. That's how they act when it's Dallas week. And it's like, what the first 5 weeks you were just talking shit nonstop. What do you mean you've never heard of the Eagles? The Eagles have never played the guy. What? There's something going on up there. And it's like, get the help they need, I hope, is what their next step is.
Yeah, listen, it might be something in the water. I think that might be what it is.
Yes.
But just to let Dallas Cowboys know, because, you always hear the comments, like you said, the Eagles never play against a good team. They never face anyone hard. The Dallas Cowboys have not faced a single offense in the top 15 in scoring, nor in the top 15 in yards. Dallas, you may be 4-1, but just like you tell us, you haven't played anyone yourselves. You haven't played a difficult team. Tomorrow you will. Then you will. But until then, you haven't. But let me get your thoughts. What are your final scoring predictions for this game?
I usually don't do these. People have made me now. I do them on game time. For me, I see the Eagles winning by at least 10. So for me, I think we can hold them to. I'm gonna give it 27-13.
Oh, I like it. Listen, if it's a win, I don't care if it's a point. Just like last week, a win is a win. You know they'll talk trash. They'll try to demean it, but guess what? At the end of the day, is like I said, the W's in our column.
Right.
That's all I care about. But my God, I know you're pressed for time. I know you have an exciting day today. You got a lot of things going for you today. So I am appreciative of you taking out the time to come on today. Listen, this has been a great show. Let the good people at home know where they can find you. What you got coming up?
Thank you, my man. I'm about to be heading to Philly. Going to enjoy this Phillies game while I'm heading there. And then tomorrow, going to be at the game. Anybody who's going to that game, you are more than welcome. Stop in. Lottie, going to be throwing it down. Whatever your heart desires, you will find it there. Stop in. Have yourself a time before we watch the Cowboys lose. But if you're looking for my content, you can find me at On the Road to Victory with Jimmy Smith on YouTube, at OTR2, the number, Victory, on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, on Facebook. I try to use those all, but always making YouTube videos. That's been my new thing the last year. So, yeah, man, this has been awesome, Vic. What a great time it was. A pleasure meeting you. A pleasure having all of you guys asking questions. I tried to look at all of the questions and tried to answer. If I missed anyone, I was not ignoring you. I just was trying to talk and muck and listen and all that at the same time, which, you know me, a High Plains drifter, that can be a little difficult. But, dude, this is awesome. And hopefully we'll be doing this again soon, and we'll be indulging Sunday night in this win.
Oh, definitely. Listen, I hope that we're able to do this again. I enjoy speaking with you. I love kicking Eagles with you. To everyone that came through, thank you so much. For everyone that was in the chat, thank you for all the questions, all the responses. For everyone that is watching, that will watch in the future, I appreciate you taking out the time to coming through and just, watching. But if you can, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to both of our channels, man. Help out the algorithm. Watch a couple of our videos. Put a comment out there. It helps out the algorithm. It helps both of us out. So, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on today. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a great show. Everybody at home, thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Vick3. That's Jimmy Smith. We're out.